Good morning. I know it was a little much for a morning hello. So, okay, cat. We have a cat playing with the charger cord. Anyway, so this morning I sat outside, which I still am. And the wind is like really crazy this morning, right? For me here. The trees are blowing up a lot. It's pretty crazy. And we have a fire going. So there is smoke everywhere, wind everywhere, and we have dirt in our yard, so there's dirt everywhere, right? And I'm sitting here and I'm watching it literally swirl together in this like tornado of smoke and sand, and it just dawned on me, obviously, you know, the world's my oracle like you guys saw in my last video. It dawned on me that there's actually a message inside of that, which to me came this way. So the dirt is from the earth, right? And the dirt makes up the ground that we walk on. So what happens when the wind blows the earth up and then it's in like particulate form and it's just this little cloud of dust? Well, that dirt is no longer what it thought it would be. It is no longer this solid, this seemingly solid, right? The dirt is now in the air, becoming something else. Same with that smoke from that fire that I have right there. The wood and the fire thought they would only be one thing. The wood anticipated being a tree. Well, it has now died and the tree is now on fire in my fire pit. That fire and that tree are now smoke. They're essence of the being that they were before. They've changed. So earlier this week on Sunday in our reading, we were told that the moon, the phases of our life were going to be coming up this week. And that we were going to spiral in, right? We're going to spiral into ourselves to see what we're made of, to see what's going on, our habits, our patterns, the things that we believe about ourselves. We were told this week we were going to be sitting with some heavier things and seeking answers to that change, that up level that we want. So Saturday for me, right now, has become the answer. It answered the question, okay, how can I go in and how can I change myself? How can I step into the next phase of myself? By releasing the form, okay, that I thought I was supposed to be. That fire and that log were supposed to be this one thing. They're now different. They're smoke on the wind. The earth, the sand that is now blowing in the breeze in a little dirt tornado, it's no longer the solid dirt that it was. It is now transcended into this next thing. We are not supposed to stay one thing for our entire lives. So how is it that this week we were told to dive into our phases and dive into the spiral of ourselves to figure something out? Like, how do you figure it out? I learned this morning. You have to let go of the form that you thought you were. You have to let go of what you thought your life would be to accept what is in front of you, the life that will be, right? In order to grab that future part or to step into the next room, you have to let go of the door handle of your past, right? The thing that you're clinging to. So it might not necessarily be fear that is stopping you from moving forward. It might not be the fear of the future. Oh, it's unknown. I'm so scared to move on. No. It might actually just be that your grip on the door handle of your past is so firm that you don't know how to let go. You don't know how to move on, because what does that even mean? Letting go, in my mind, is not always letting go. It's grabbing forward. So it's reaching for the future. It's allowing yourself to reach for that next form and not thinking about the form that you used to be. So what that essentially means in a more simplified context would be, we all have this dream of what we want our lives to be, right? Or we have this dream of who we want to be. And then something in our lives happens and it derails us completely. And then we are no longer that person. We no longer have that dream life, or we're no longer on track for that dream that we had, right? What do you do from there? Well, fuck, now you have a goddamn huge ass wound and you're like, shit, I don't have the life I want. I'm not the person I thought I was going to be. My life is fucked because all of this stuff happened and now I'm nowhere where I thought I was going to be. What is going on, right? The wind this morning told me You got to let go of that, right? Let go. How do you let go? What does that even mean? Grief. Mourning. Yeah, Saturday morning talking about grieving and mourning. That's right. Because that is how you let go of a dream. That is how you let go of a hope that you had that is no longer technically possible the exact same way that you imagined it the first time, right? Because something happened, it changed, and now it's derailed the dream from what it could have been. Grief. That is the only way. Grieving is the only way that you can move forward. And what does it mean to grieve? This is a fun one. What does it actually mean to grieve? It means to feel. Grieving is feeling. Grieving is feeling the sadness and the upset, the disappointment of all of the dreams, of all of the ways that you thought your life would be, of all the ways that you thought you would be. It's grieving that and letting it be diminished, letting it die. It's admitting and accepting, okay, that has died, that has passed, that is no longer. How do you let go of your past? You grieve it. How do you let go of this dream of your life? You grieve it. What does grieving do for you? What does mourning allow for you? What does it create for you? Space. This mourning and this grieving, this being in this feeling, creates space. Because once you sit in that feeling, you feel it, you grieve it, you mourn it, you allow yourself to feel the depth of all of what it is, you create that space to move on. That letting go. Letting go is creating space in order to bring those other feelings, the better feelings, in. And what will the better feelings be? Those better feelings come after the grieving, where you're like, whew, that was a good cry. Yeah, fuck yeah, okay. Good, I'm ready. What's the day gonna be? What's my life gonna be? Because you got rid of all that pent-up energy you were holding on to, all of that sadness, all of that grief, all of that, maybe the broken dreams. You let it go because you grieved it. You sat with it and you let it out. Okay? Now you have all that space to move on. You have all that space to create an energy within you to pursue the next thing, to create your life or the next dream. When we were told this Sunday by the moon and by that inward spiral card to move forward, to move on from a pattern, how do you do it? How do you let go? You grieve it. You mourn it. And why would you want to do that? Why would you want to sit? Because grieving means sitting. It's mourning. It's being in that feeling. Why would you want to feel the feelings? Because you want the space. You want what is on the other side of that feeling, right? You want to know what it feels like to not have the feeling. How do you get rid of the feeling? You go through it. You get it out. And then you can move on. So by sitting with the wind this morning and watching it take the earth from its natural space, like literally the ground, by watching the wind take the ground up and cast it through its wisps, it just spoke to me so much. We are meant to let go of the form. We are meant to let go of what we think life should be like. Should. Should is such a fucked word. Should. Supposed to. No. Our lives are not supposed to be anything other than lived. And how do you live? By fully stepping into the experience of life. And what does that mean? Going with the flow. Going with whatever life brings to you and for you. I made a post yesterday that essentially spoke to how can you look at the worst thing in your life and turn it into the greatest gift of your life? How could we justify that, or rationalize rather, that the wind taking that earth and creating it into a dust cloud was beautiful and amazing and worthwhile for that dirt? Well, shit, it took the earth and took it and made it into something that it wasn't supposed to be. So how is that blissful? It had an experience that it never would have had otherwise and created a perspective that it never would have had otherwise. It just went from ground level to being up in the treetops. There's a blessing in that, right? There is a blessing to every piece of us that we allow to die. There is a gift in every single dream that crashes. We just have to be willing to see it. We have to be willing to allow our perspectives to change. So this morning, the wind, the smoke on the wind for me is the transcendence of the essence of the wood. It is allowing the form of that fire to take place and be cast across the skies. That's pretty fucking amazing. So if you allow something in your past to die, something within you, a pattern or something, to die, you are allowing yourself to transform and to transcend into that next level of yourself, that next perspective that you would not have had otherwise. If you continue on in the same way that you always have gone, you will only ever end up in the same place that you ever have been. And that speaks to the feelings of yourself. You can only become, right? You can only become your feelings when you stay in them. If you would like to become a different feeling, you grieve the old and you begin anew, right? So those are my Saturday morning soul pourings. That's what came up for me this morning. So I really hope that that helps you guys to kind of step forward from that distilled place of mourning that feels really gross because you're sitting in those dark, murky feelings. I know, they're awful, but they're gifts, right? They're awfully amazing. So I understand, trust me, I understand. There's a lot going on in those feelings. But those feelings do not stay forever, right? You're not going to be cast to the wind forever. Yes, that snake tattoo, that's the exact reason, because it's all cyclical, right? There is so much symbolism in this world. If we would just open our minds and our hearts to receive it, we wouldn't struggle half as fucking much as we did, right? Yeah. Dude, Kelvin, that's amazing. That's awesome for you. And I'm extremely glad. I'm extremely glad. I hope that you guys are stepping forward out of yourselves today. I hope that this week brought you the lessons that it was supposed to. Supposed to. Such fun. Words are so much fun. Okay, I'm going to get off here because I'm just going to keep rambling because I love to talk. Yeah. I hope you guys found the wisdom, and I hope that you allow yourselves to let things die that are within you, or those old patterns, because in that death you will be reborn. That's literally the distillate of this whole entire conversation. If you allow things to die, newness will always come. That's the phase of the moon, that's the spiral, it goes in, it goes out, it's renewal. So in order to step into our renewal, we have to let things die. Death is beautiful. So let's recreate our relationship with her, right? Let's let ourselves die a little bit so that we can be reborn, because if we keep holding on to all this bullshit from our past, we are never going to get to the futuristic dream that we have for ourselves, which is just the good relationship we want on the inside, right? That's our main thing out of all of it. We want to be happy, but what is happiness? Feeling good on the inside. So that no matter where you go, no matter what you do, you feel good. Alright, guys. I hope that you let things die. Alright, have a great Saturday. Thank you all for showing up and saying hello and all the things. I'll see you guys tomorrow for our card reading. See ya!